With OPOWER with OPOWER. Thanks so much for being with us.
It's great to be here.
Tell us a little bit about OPOWER.
Well, we're really trying to make energy efficiency cool. One of the things that's happening in the industry right now is people are trying to really save energy and trying to make the country more efficient, but you can't really do it unless people get engaged about it. Sure. And energy data and energy efficiency is really not that interesting to a lot of people. And at one level, we're really trying to change that. We're really trying to help utilities reach out to their customers and help them see that by leading a more efficient lifestyle, they can save money, they can save the environment, and then they can actually feel good about it. A lot of people just like to save for the sake of saving and bragging about actually living an efficient lifestyle. So we work with utilities to really help them engage their customers and save a lot of energy across the country.
So how does that engagement actually happen? I mean, most people are just so used to receiving a bill and paying the bill and calling it a day.
Right.
How are you changing that paradigm?
In fact, most people's interaction with the utility boils down to either none or calling them when you're mad about your bill.
Sure.
And asking them, why is my bill so high? That's I think between those two interactions, you get about 90% of all interactions that happen.
Absolutely.
So it's really a bad place to start. We're trying to change that. And you mentioned the bill, and we realized early on in our in the company that is actually the perfect opportunity. Very few people go to utilities website. I don't know if you think of it, when's the last time you went to utilities website? Probably never. Yeah. Me neither, and I work in this industry. And so we realized that, in contrast to that, 98% of the people open the bill. I mean, when you go through the mail, you see utility bill, you're probably going to open it and try to pay so you're not late, so your lights don't turn off. And so we built this product called the Home Energy Report that is essentially stuffed in an envelope that looks like a bill on behalf of the utility. And everybody opens it. And instead of a bill, instead of sort of bad news, you get this colorful, and I wish I actually had a copy, I could show it to you, we get colorful 2-page home energy report that tells you all this cool information. And one of the most popular things that we do is, for the first time, we'll actually give you a sense of how you're doing. So if you think about it, you get a bill that says $100, $120, and I don't know, 80 gigawatt hours, or 80 kilowatt hours. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't really, you have no idea whether that's good, whether that's bad. And so we found a way to explain that in very succinctly to the customers, and the way is to compare them to similar homes in their neighborhood.
So are they giving some type of a rating or a grade?
Yeah, you get what we call the neighbor comparison. So we take an average of 100 similar homes, and we make sure that it's a fair comparison, right? So we do, you make sure the square footage is about the same, it's a similar neighborhood, so it's the same weather, similar number of people in the homes, similar demographic profile, right? And then we average about 100 homes that are like that in your bucket, and we say, okay, so you're doing about 20% more than what is normal for your home, or maybe you're doing 20% less. If you feel good. If you're doing less, you get a smiley face that you're doing well. If you're doing more, then it really gets interesting. We say, okay, you really have an opportunity to do better. And in fact, you're doing 30% more overall, or you maybe do about average, but in the summer, you're doing 30% more than what's normal. And that's, for the first time, is eye-opening. And people had most people's response to that is like, I had no idea. I actually had no way of judging or gauging. And so once we alert them, once we sort of raise awareness, then we couple that with pragmatic suggestions of what you can do about it. And then that's also, again, based on what we know about you and about your house. So if you're a single person living in a one-bedroom apartment, renting, we're not going to suggest that you re-insulate the house. You're never going to do that. It's a rent place, right? But we're going to tell you to, lower your thermostat by 1 degree because, the temperature they're using is way too low than what you really need. And just 1 degree difference can make a huge difference. And so on. We can tell you to replace your light bulbs maybe, and we can tell you to, change your filter in your AC a little bit more often. Low-cost things that everybody can do. And we do this on a very large scale. So we send millions of these reports out, and every single one is completely different, and it all depends on who you are, what your energy pattern has been, and who you are as a person. So it actually makes sense that people engages people.
So the secret sauce is really your recommendation engine, because everybody's different.
It's content targeting combined with, and recommendation is a big part of it, but it's really, the whole report is for you. Okay. We have such a small window, because again, going back to people don't care. So you have such a small window, i.e. when they're opening the bill, to actually give them something that they will pay attention to. Sure. And if they read it and they realize, this is not for me, this is a mass mailer, you will lose them and that's it. They're never going to pay attention again. So the software that we do is really, the complexity of everything we do is hidden. It's all in the back end. We do a lot of algorithms, a lot of calculations to figure out exactly, or our best guess. You can never know for sure, but it's our best guess of what will be meaningful to that customer in terms of information, and also what would be motivated to that customer. And then we manifest it in a report. We also have a web portal for those who are interested. We're now sending emails and text messages as well. So we just use all the traditional channels to give people information that actually makes sense to them.
Yeah, and the service, all things considered, for the customer is free. I mean,
it's free, yeah. It's part of in all of our bills, whether we realize it or not with the utility, we pay a small surcharge already, and it's been like that for decades, and it's going to continue like that for decades, to help the energy run these energy efficiency programs. And the traditional programs are stuff like installation and retrofits, but now we're doing this program that's actually interesting and fun for the customer as well. It's information-based. So your bill, we don't make your bill go up. It's about to be the same, yet you're getting a much better service.
And how were you, obviously the consumption data is fairly easy to acquire because the utility is already...
Yeah, we work with the utility. Our model is very utility-centric. We act as an agent on behalf of the utility. So if you're working with your utility, hopefully you will notice, because all of a sudden the communication will still go between the utility and you. You'll get it from your utility, or look like at least it's coming from the utility. But you should notice a pretty significant improvement on the type of communication. The bill is much more comprehensible. The website is cool. And you have all these new channels and better information that you'll feel like, oh wow, I can actually do something about it and save money.
How do you collect the data that's not necessarily the consumption, the square footage, the number of people who live in the house?
Yeah, it's kind of a pain, and it's one of the things that we offer as an industry. There's tax assessor's office data that's publicly available. Third party, there are a bunch of third parties that send demographic information. There's weather data that we collect. And there's also data directly from the user, what we call user-generated content. So if you come online, you can tell us, hey, I have 3 people living in this house. We'll take that into consideration. And so a big part of the challenge is how do you take all these data streams and marry them into one customer profile that makes sense. And so there are all these discrepancies. And that's what we do on behalf of utilities. And then once the data is married and validated, then we can do analytics on it and then do these cool things.
Cool. Well, it sounds like it's a really cool concept. I have one final question for you. This is more personal than anything. Why are you doing what you're doing?
I didn't talk about the results. At the end of the day, I talked about helping utilities engage their customers, but the results that we're having as a result of this are so exciting. Just to give you a sense, we can send these reports and emails and etc. to millions of households very easily and cost effectively. For every million homes that we send reports to, we save enough energy starting 6 or 8 weeks later, so it's almost immediate. We start saving enough energy to take 30,000 of those homes completely off the grid.
It's big time.
And then we can scale that up. So when we'll soon be at 10 million homes, and you can do the math. There's going to be 300. That's a million, a city of 1 million people off the grid. And so we're a double bottom line company. We're as everybody else, trying to make money. We're trying to build a company, but we also, in everything we do, we're all got in this to actually help the environment, and we're actually having a huge impact as a company. And that's really what's driving us.
And driving you personally.
And absolutely. I mean, I talk about us because we really are a team. But I mean, the reason I joined the company is I saw an opportunity relatively early on in my career to have an impact, to have a positive impact on the world, something that's not just aspirational, but measured happening today and on a very large scale. It's extremely exciting.
Well, Ogi, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for
luck to you guys.
Thanks for your interest.
Take care.